Hey everyone, it's Billy Hale with Billy Hale Leather, and we're looking today at some pretty cool tools. These are, I think, pretty new. They're from Jeremiah Watt, and Colleen helped me out here, sent these down, and so I just thought we'd take a look at, it's a set. You can buy them individually for around $36 a piece, but these were all made as a set. HSBT, which is how I've always known them, actually stands for Horseshoe Brand Tools, and they started out of Jeremiah's frustration in finding high quality tools needed to do the work that he needed to. So he created the Horseshoe Brand Tool Company to make his own set of tools, and he researched the best of the old tools, and he had his metallurgy testing done on them to analyze metal types and materials as well as temper so he could make the best tool possible today. So that's where these came from, out of someone just like you and I who were looking for something that they needed and couldn't find. Now I'll tell you where they came from for me. This tool right here is a Beader. So that means, you know, these cameras never do good on zoom, but I'll take some pictures and drop them in here. But this has two legs on it, and this is what I was on the hunt for. I couldn't find one, and I accidentally saw it in a video and on YouTube and found it on their website. And that website, by the way, is ranch2arena.com. So that's where you can find these on the right. And now, to find these tools is a little bit tricky. You need to go, I'll take a screenshot here. Here we go. Upper right-hand corner, drop-down menu, and come down, and then you'll find these tools. And so that's where they live. So the double beater was there, but that's not all they make. They make a couple of different things. Well, you know what? Instead of just rambling, why don't I talk about what we have here, and then we're going to talk a little theory. So these are based off tools that were owned by Rusty May of Colorado, and they were originally, not these tools right here, but the ones they're based off of were created by F.K. Russell out of Texas. And so this is basically what F.K. made, except his handles were made out of wood. So the folks over at Jeremiah Watt were impressed, and they've stepped away from the traditional wood handle for a couple of reasons. One is for cost, so that these are affordable for you and I. And the other one is these handles are going to last forever, literally. And so now we have an old school tool that you and I can use with some new twists in there. And the handle is made to the exact shape of his wood handles, because we figured FK knew what he was doing. But that's high density polymer. So there's three of these things, and these tools are a little rare, and they're also a little tricky. These are not stainless steel. These are made out of a metal that Jeremiah picked for its ability to glide along the leather. So you definitely don't want to leave these wet. You want to take care of them a little bit. I haven't found any issues with just using them as I would any other tool. So let's talk about the Beader, the original tool, the reason I got here, the reason I needed this. Why do you need a Beader tool? I do a lot of holsters, and I do a lot of lines. And when I look at images of old 1860s, 70s, 80s holsters, there's a lot of double lines. And I thought, man, there must be a way, an easier way to do double lines than to have to cut them. But what this will give you is an exact line, an exact duplicate of the cut that you're in. So using this tool on wet leather will leave you with a burnished, partially round form double line that is permanent. You may want to go in there and go in with this tool and do your double line, and then take your swivel knife and cut that secondary line that this is creating, and then go back in again. You can get an even deeper cut on that thing if you desire. You don't have to. And while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about how you need to hold all of these tools right here. They're made this way for a reason. You want to hold it, what would that be like? Maybe a knife, or I don't know, a ski pole perhaps, for those that have skied. And you want to get your thumb on top, and then when you're working it, you want to pull it. Some of these don't like to be pushed, I'll tell you. Now this one you can push or pull. You always have to be careful. But you need to keep your hand locked Don't be wiggling or waggling, and pull. Now, if you're coming into a corner, you might want to raise up to get out of that corner. These things are a little tricky on corners, and when you hit that corner, you might want to grab something like this to go into where those 90-degree lines meet, so that you can kind of stop before you get there. So thoughts on this. Now, for me, this is for straightish lines. I am no good at curves with this thing, and you really want to be careful about staying in your groove. You jump the track on this, it's going to show. You have to be very careful. Now, I've seen people take their thumb and push this along the line like that, and I've got to think this is for safety and keeping yourself in your line, because the last thing you want to do is get to this point of building a holster or a belt and jump out of the line. Now, if you do jump out of the line, you could grab a spoon or something and smooth it out. I can't guarantee 100% that it's going to look perfect for you. So this is the first thing I used this tool on this double line right here. On this, this is a Jesse James holster. And then up here at the top, you can actually see where I've, where these crisscross. I put a stamp right there so that they kind of have a stopping place, and then I jump back off on something else. So that's the Beader. All right, this might be my favorite, I gotta say, and I'm gonna tell you why. By the way, this is $36.50. All right, so this is the Russell Push Beveler. This is a single-sided bevel, and the Push Beveler is used on case leather. It'll give you a nice burnished bevel. Some people call this a cheater tool. So if you were working a belt with a nice long line and it needed an inside bevel, or a bevel in general, you could use this instead of using a beveler all the way down the line, which we all know takes forever. This tool will bevel your swivel knife cuts out to the right side of the cut with a glossy burnish. Now, that's another thing I'd like to say. You know, all my bevelers are not glossy. They're not going to leave a glossy anything. So if you're looking for something smooth, if you're looking for smooth and glossy, this is one way to go. And I can show you an instance on where I would use that. On my feathers, when I'm doing the center part of my feather, I need a bevel that does not have texture in it. So that's where something like this would come in. I will say this is a pulling tool. Of course, we're keeping it straight up and down while we're doing that, but you pull. I don't push this tool. It tends to stab my leather when I do that, so it's always a puller. So next, we're going to talk about what I think is my favorite tool of the group, double beveling. Now, I've got some double beveling tools over here, but the double beveler on this thing is pretty awesome. Let's grab it. This is a double beveler, which means that you have a cut line made on smooth grain leather, and you can push the tool along the line and bevel a nice clean bevel out from both sides of the line. So a place where I would use this would be, once again, on my feathers, where I have a quill that's not perfectly straight. So if I have a quill, I need to bevel the top of the quill over around to make it look like, well, not a quill, but the center part. I don't know, the shaft of the feather, I guess. I need it to be round over on this side, and then I need it to round out to where the feather goes out to. This is perfect for that, because I can come down that line, even though the line isn't straight, it's kind of at an angle. I can use this and come down and really separate it, get a bevel, and I'm not adding texture to the leather while I'm doing it. Then I go on the other side and do the same thing. So that's where this comes in. So these are the three tools. I want to thank Colleen for sending these to me. I've always been a fan of Jeremiah and what he does. I mean, you know, we all have the tools we started out with, and then we have the tools that we build into. And these are those kind of tools that you want to build into. Now, I will say these are some tricky tools. These are not easy. It's not like taking a hammer and hitting a piece of leather. You need to be conscious at all times of your line. You have to stay in the line or you can mess up what you're doing. But once you master it, I have seen guys just go to town, especially with the beater, and really make some magic with it. So these are the new, it's the trifecta of beading and beveling and all the other things that you might need. So check them out, Jeremiah Watt, ranch2arena.com. These are the HSBT Russell tools. I'm Jim T. Grimm with Billy Hell Leather. Thank y'all. Hope you enjoyed it.